friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's vlog because today I'm going to go over my first ever mid-year freakout tag. Thank you all for joining me today. If you're new here, my name is Wendy, and I have several options for some of these because I just couldn't pick, but I tried really hard. I'm going to link below the original creators. I actually didn't know this, but Keisha had them linked, so I'm grateful to her because I want to give them credit for starting this. So I will have that linked below. And I will try to show as many books as I can physically, but a majority is going to be up here because I do not have all the physical copies anymore. So, I also want to say happy 4th of July. I've got my festive 4th of July get up to celebrate this week, and I hope you all have such great, amazing 4th of Julys with family and friends, and I am just so excited because I really do enjoy 4th of July. Me and my family always like to get sparklers and Roman candles and stuff with the kids and go outside, and we sit on our hill and we watch fireworks around our neighborhood, and it is just so much fun. So let's go over it. So the first question is best books you've read so far this year. This is a really hard question because I have read a lot of great books. But I will say probably the ones that stick out the most are the rom-commers, which just came out. I read it as an arc and I absolutely loved it. The banter was unmatched. And the next one that I listed on here was The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is what got me into Riley Sager. It was my first book by him. Absolutely loved it, which started a whole thing. And now I have it signed and went to go see him. And I just uploaded that vlog, so go ahead and go watch that. I'll link it below. But yes, definitely a favorite, as well as a few of his others, The Last Time I Lied and Lock Every Door. But I didn't want to list like a million Riley Sagers, so those all got 5 stars. Then next I have Yours Truly, which I don't have, but I will be getting eventually. And Just for the Summer. Both of these were incredible, the best romances I've read to date. And then I would say Bride, which is my first Allie Hazelwood. I know this wasn't everyone's favorite, but I adored it. And Heartless Hunter. So those would probably be my top books for 2024 thus far. A wide range of variety, and I enjoyed so many of them. I really can't pick a favorite, but if you made me, I would probably say Just for the Summer. So, the best sequel I've read this far this year, I would say either Killer Instinct or I would say The Rulebook. Probably would more so lean towards The Rulebook only because I had not expected to love this as much as I did. So I do want to give this a huge shout out for the sequel because I did not enjoy the cheat sheet. And so I want to say that if you did not enjoy it, you would maybe love this one like me. So do give it a try and don't be discouraged if you didn't like the first one, because this one I felt was much better and I really, really enjoyed it. But I do want to say that Killer Instinct is a really, really great sequel. It was 5 stars for me, the only 5 stars in a series. The rest of them were 4 stars for me in the naturals. I loved it for the action and the characters, and the twists and stuff that were in this one were just so great, and I just had such a great time reading this book. So next, new releases that I haven't read yet but want to. Okay, so this one's a little bit hard for me to choose from because the release that I'm most anticipating is not releasing this year, but I'm going to list it because this would be my pick if it was, and that would be Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I am so excited that she is adding a book in the When in Rome series. This is my favorite series by her, and this is the one I'm anticipating the most, but it doesn't release until February 4th of next year. So do want to give that disclaimer, but that would be my pick if I could. So if you're forcing me to pick one, For this year, I would probably say Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. I believe it's being released this year. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But that's all I can really give you because those are the two that I'm most excited for. Also, there are a couple in the Inheritance games I'm excited about, which is The Grandest Game, and there's one more. I can't remember what it's called, but I will put both pictures up. These two I'm really anticipating and very excited for. I love the Inheritance games so much. So then next question is my biggest disappointment. My biggest disappointment this year was Wayward. This book I had such high expectations for because it won Goodreads Choice of the Year last year. I think it was Goodreads. And so I had really high expectations for this book. I thought the cover was just beautiful. I had just heard, great things about it because of all the reviews and all the hype surrounding it and winning awards. So of course I bought it and I didn't really look too much into it, which I should have. I hated it. I DNF'd it at 100 pages. It was absolutely terrible. There were so many trigger warnings. It would take me 10 minutes to list them, so look them up, but it is not worth your time, in my opinion. It was a very large disappointment. It was very dark and borderline satanic and not something that I would want to read. So that was the biggest disappointment. The next question is biggest surprise. I would say the biggest surprise of this year would probably be AJ Fickery or Expiration Dates. And that is because both of these are literary fiction type books and I did not expect to enjoy them and I was pleasantly surprised. And so those would definitely be the answers to that question because I love them both. They both got 5 stars for me. I sat there and read Expiration Dates in one setting, like one day. I haven't done that in a while. And AJ Fickery was just such an emotional, beautiful story. So those would definitely be my biggest surprise. The next question is favorite new debut or new to you author. This one I would say is Heartless Hunter. Heartless Hunter is such an amazing debut novel. It is shocking to me that this is the first book released by this author. If there's another one, I don't know about it because I looked it up on Goodreads and I only saw this book written by her. So I just thought this was such a great read. It was YA fantasy, beginning to end. I wanted to know what was happening. I was so into it the whole time. It got 5 stars. Loved it. Can't wait for the next one. Highly recommend it. It is a good time. The next one is my newest fictional crush. This one I would say is a hard choice for me because I don't typically get that attached to characters other than Reese, which I say Rysand. Other than him, that would be it for me. Otherwise, I don't really get attached to any characters. He's the only one that stands out in my mind that I still think about as being my favorite male character of all time and my crush. But if I had to pick one, I would say Justin from Just for the Summer, just because he was so incredibly sweet and just took care of her and was just so supportive and just the MVP, like hands down, so good to her. The next question is newest favorite character. So this one is another hard one for me because there really isn't a character that stands out in my mind this year, because last year is when I read all of the top books where I had just characters I still think about and love to this day. Aelin and Reese and Farah and Violet from Fourth Wing and Xaden, like just amazing characters. So this year I haven't had that yet. I really just haven't read a book where I'm like, oh my goodness, I am obsessed with this character. I really haven't had that. But if I had to pick one, I would probably go with, this may be a surprise, but I would say Live and Let Chai. I really liked Everly. I just thought she was extremely funny and quick-witted, and her comments made me laugh so much. So if I had to pick, this is who I would pick, only because I thought she was incredibly funny, but she's not a favorite character of all time. It's not like monumental, like I'm going to be thinking about her for a long time. I'm not. But This is the only one I could really say out of all the ones I've read this year that I just really enjoyed the story because of the character. So this is why I loved this book so much, was the characters. I just thought they were all really great. So then next question is books that made you cry. So the books that made me cry would be The Woman, Just for the Summer, and Homefront, and yours truly. I think that's it. Yeah. I'm sure I've teared up in some other books, but those are the ones that stick out in my mind. The next question is books that made me happy. Right off the bat, I immediately thought the rom-commers. When I thought about this question, it popped in my head immediately. This book made me so happy, giggle. I was laughing and sending my friend pictures of me laughing and smiling through this whole book. I loved it so much, so much. It was my first Catherine Center book, and it set the bar really high. I just enjoyed the banter so much. They just made me laugh. And then next, I would probably say the Off Limits Rule. I distinctly remember smiling and laughing and cheesing the entire time I read this book. It made me so, so happy, which Sarah Adams always does. And then lastly, I would say the Rule Book. Same feeling. The Sarah Adams always does this to me. I just think her books are like candy, and they just are feel-good, happy, funny rom-coms, and I just love them and eat them up. The next question says, most beautiful book you received or bought so far this year. This one is hard for me because I don't really collect editions per se, unless I love the book so much that I'm gonna keep it and reread it. I don't really invest in like special editions. So I'm just gonna base it off of like the original covers. This is a hard one for me to choose, so I'm gonna list a couple. I think that When the Moon Hatched is probably one of the most beautiful fantasy books I've seen in a while. I just think that the dragons and the detail, different like elements woven throughout, I think is really beautiful, and I'm very excited to read it. The next would probably be Little Women. I think that these covers, all of them in the Puffin and Bloom collection, is beautiful, but I'm not going to show every single one. So, but the whole series, look them up. I would definitely say like they're my favorite. I mean, some of the most beautiful collections that I've seen. And then I guess I would say, I also think this Juniper and Bean is beautiful. Like this is probably one of the more beautiful cozies I've seen. So, you know, that's really all I can give you because, like I said, I don't really collect special editions, but when I get the Grandest Game and whatever the next one is in that series, I did order special editions for those because I love the series so much. Those will probably be my favorite ones. I also think that, is it Fable? Is the first one? I think it's Fable. I do think that cover is beautiful. I forgot to bring that downstairs. We'll put a picture up right here. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I mean, all of them. But again, if I had to choose, here are some of the ones I would pick. I would probably say I would like to read Crescent City 2 by the end of this year. I also have been really wanting to read Defy the Night. This is something that I just keep looking at and wanting to read, and I'm really interested in. And then I would say, obviously, Middle of the Night. I haven't started this yet, but I'm very anticipating it, and I have so many books I've got to read right now, or I would have already read this. So this is getting done before the year is over. Then I would probably say When the Moon Hatched. I'm really excited about this one. I've heard so many good things. So definitely that one. Spark of the Everflame. Again, I've heard so many good things about this one. Definitely going to read this by the end of the year. Actually might read it this month because, is it Spark of Sam, or I can't remember her name, but I'll link her below and her Discord. There is a fantasy group that is reading this for their book pick this month, and I may join them if I have time. So I am very excited about that. Also, this chunker, Priory and the Orange Tree. I have been wanting to read this for a while now, and it is so large that I haven't had time because I'm reading so many books. But I would love it if I could read this by the end of the year because I have been excited about it. I just need to make time for it and stop joining all of the book clubs and all of the things because it is making it impossible for me to read. And then I also would love to read Little Woman by the end of this year. I have been wanting to read all the classics in the Puffin and Bloom collection for a while, but again, they keep getting pushed back. So what I would love to do is read this around Christmas time. I don't know why, it just gives me the Christmas feels. And so I'm saving this for probably around winter time because I do think it would fit just the perfect season for that. And I think that's all that I have listed for what I want to get to by the end of the year. But again, I would love to read all of my books. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and liking this video. I would love for you to stick around and click the notification bell so that you will be notified of things coming up. I do have a sprint coming up this month on July 14th. I will link that below, so click notify me so that you will be reminded of that later, and that's going to be with my friends Hannah, Leah, Jules, and Bethany, which I'm so excited about because I'm going to be her first sprint. She is just the sweetest soul. If you don't know her, please go check out her channel and follow her. They will all be linked below. They are just some great friends to have. I've really enjoyed getting to know all of them, and I'm so excited to have a sprint with them this month and later this month going to the beach. Yay! So I wanted to celebrate the fact that I'm going to the beach this month. I haven't been in like 5 years, so I'm very excited. So we're going to have a beach themed sprint and I'm super excited. So if you made it this far, please leave below your favorite book that you have read this year, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!